Okay, Derek, so I got you here. For starting off our putting lesson, what I really just want, I just want you to roll a couple putts, and I'm gonna stand back and watch. Just kind of do what's natural, what you normally do, and we'll go from there. So,
All right, sounds good.
Get you roll two more for me. So overall, I like the stroke. It really looks pretty good. And I know we had talked about this earlier. You said putting was kind of one of your stronger areas of your golf game.
It is. It helps me a lot. I really feel like when I set up, my eyesight over the ball, I get skewed, and sometimes I'll line them up off the toe some. So I really try and focus on that. That's probably my big problem.
So kind of biggest areas you think you can improve is maybe alignment, kind of setup.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot.
What about like ball position? You think? Anything with ball position, or
if anything, I tend to get too far back.
Okay.
So I try and make sure I keep it just in front of center.
Okay.
So,
absolutely. Okay. Well, I got a couple of drills. We'll move on to the next couple steps, and we can kind of help you out in those areas.
Sounds good.
All right, Derek. So we're out here today. We're gonna work around the greens, kind of do some short game work. I've watched you hit a couple balls, and I mean, I've kind of seen some swings and some shots, but from your perspective in your game, what do you feel like is your biggest needs around the green in your short game?
Probably contact. I'll catch something fat here and there. So contact is a big thing. And then ball position, I generally kind of like to play it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of a preference. But sometimes it'll get out of whack, so probably ball position too.
What about weight distribution or anything like that? I mean, do you have something you kind of prefer, or do you struggle in that area, or maybe not so much?
I generally like to keep majority of my weight on my left side,
Okay.
because I like to try and focus on ball first.
Right.
So I try and keep most of it on my left side and chipping.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead. I'll watch you hit a couple more shots, and then we'll make some changes as we go, and hopefully get you hitting some better shots by the time we finish up.
Sounds good.
All right, Derek. So we're gonna get started. Just go ahead for me and just hit, a couple bunker shots, just standard, whatever feels comfortable to you. And I'm just gonna kind of sit back and kind of just make some observations. So just pretend like I'm not even here.
Sounds good.
So I remember in the lesson, or not in the lesson intro, in the player program, before we started even the first lesson, you kind of said your bunker game was maybe about the middle.
Yeah.
Probably ranked at about a 3 out of 5. You said overall, you kind of felt comfortable, but there were some areas, you felt like you could improve. Overall, I mean, just give me kind of what's some needs. What's your miss?
Yeah, my big miss is hitting them, thin or too far. And it's not always thin. Just sometimes the distance control just isn't there.
Right.
I have a tendency to start picking them a lot out of the bunker, and so that'll get that airmail past the flag, and it'll spin a lot, but it's way too far. It's just nowhere near the hole.
Right.
So contact is probably my one big weakness in the bunker.
Yeah, I was kind of looking, just watching a few shots. I mean, overall, those really weren't bad, but I think if we could add some height onto a couple of those shots and get them to spin a little more, we could probably get some shots a little closer to the hole, especially going at the pin that we're going at. You don't have a lot of green to work with. It'd be a little different if you went to one of these out here, right? But okay, all right. Well, we kind of got something to work with, so I'll have you hit a couple more shots and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good.
Let me hit two more. Okay. So, what's your usual ball flight, like your shot shape that you try to hit?
I usually try and just hit, a little draw.
And then sometimes you kind of tend to get like the blocks out, right?
Yeah.
Like the little baby cuts and stuff. What would you say that your biggest needs are as far as full swing? Like, what's the biggest area you'd like to improve in the most?
Contact's always a big deal. A lot of times I start to get hilly shot.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I start to get too long at the top. So I try and focus on keeping my backswing shorter.
Okay.
And then setup's a big problem too. I usually when I start hitting the ball bad, I'm usually starting to line up right of my target.
Ball positions kind of moves and stuff like that. Okay. All right. Well, I got a few kind of tips and drills and things that we can kind of work on and hopefully get you in the right position and eliminate those big misses for you.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So in our lesson intro, we kind of talked about what we were going to do today. Go out on the course, kind of talk about how to play the course to help lower some scores. So from your experience, what would you say are your biggest needs that you need from like an on-course perspective?
Yeah, there's a couple things. One thing, course management is a big problem for me, mainly just because I've never really had help with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a big thing for me. And then some trouble shots, like if I hit an errant tee shot or something and I got to get it back in play, I struggle getting it back in play. If I have to hit like a punch, a low punch, or if I've got to hit something high over a tree to get it back in play. Either way, sometimes I struggle with that. And other things like foot out of the bunker.
So just some different kind of
some quirky shots that sometimes happens that you have to hit. I'm not very good at. So things like that, really.
So when you talk about like, like your big tee shots, like your misses and stuff like that, you talk about just getting in play. What's kind of your mental approach to that? Are you just, obviously it's going to vary a little bit, but for the most part, are you thinking, like, I just got to get this in play and get it back in play, take my medicine, maybe try and make par? Or are you thinking like, oh, okay, now I got to be really aggressive with it. I got to try and advance it. Like I can still make birdie here. Like, is it still an aggressive mentality, or are you just kind of, taking your medicine and trying to work with what you got?
It really depends on the situation, but I would say for the most part, in my mindset, I just try and eliminate the big numbers.
Yeah.
And so more than likely I'm going, hey, let's just get it in play, and if I make par, I make par. If you make bogey, that's all right. You can make a bogey up, but once you start getting in, doubles, triples, those are hard to get back. So really, I just try and think about, not getting the big numbers.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's go out on the course. You talked about the trouble shots, so we'll kind of look at those, and I'll kind of help you in those areas, but and we'll get started from there.
All right, cool.